Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. I got my Hobbit cup here. I love that coffee cup. I just wanted to give you an update. I know a lot of people are probably wondering what's going on with our church right now, what our plans are at Cornerstone for this weekend or farther on into the future. Just want to say that we're taking it 1 week at a time, that we don't know what the future holds in the distant future. We're just trying to evaluate daily and weekly what the best course of action is for us. I want to say thank you to our team of leaders who have given up a lot of time these last few weeks to have a lot of discussions and to weigh a lot of things. We realize that there are a lot of feelings and a lot of opinions right now on a lot of different issues. And so we're trying to take that all in. We're trying to be thoughtful and to listen and to weigh things and to be wise in the decisions that we make for our church. And so just want to say that it's our understanding that these drastic measures that are being taken right now to shut everything down, that the purpose of that isn't to try to stop this virus, which I think most people realize is impossible at this point, but rather the goal of these drastic measures is to slow this virus way down, or the word you've probably heard on the internet or TV is to flatten it. The reason being, while this virus doesn't seem to be terribly unique in terms of its mortality rate or other statistics, it does seem to be a bit unique in how easily and how quickly it spreads. And so the fear is if it spreads to too large of a mass of people too quickly, that the healthcare system will be absolutely devastated and overwhelmed, and we won't be able to treat the people who are in critical need of treatment. We won't have the space or the resources to treat them all at once. And so we don't want to face the decision as a country that other countries are having to face of, okay, who do we treat and let live and put on a ventilator or whatever else, and who do we let fend for themselves and probably die? I think the fear is if we don't slow this thing down and allow people to be treated a little bit at a time while we have the space and resources, that things could get absolutely out of control. And so it's our understanding that that's the purpose behind these drastic efforts to shut things down. That being said, we also realized that yesterday the government suggested that people keep their public gatherings to 10 people or less. And also they said that's a suggestion. They clearly communicated that that's not a mandate at this point. And so we're trying to weigh that as well and what that means for our church. Because honestly, what's difficult with a church like Cornerstone is we minister to a lot of different people who approach things in different ways and have a lot of different ideas. And so on the one hand, we have a significant number of people who feel well, who feel like they're being mindful of public health and safety, and who still very much want to utilize their freedom to come out and to worship together publicly while we have that option, because it's not forbidden at this point yet, it's just suggested. That message came through pretty loud and clear this last Sunday. Our first service has more elderly folks than the other two services, and what we've read about this virus is it's the elderly who are particularly at risk, or those with respiratory vulnerabilities. But this last Sunday, the attendance at the first service wasn't down, it actually was up. And so that was a pretty strong, clear statement from those folks about where they're at. And what they're prioritizing in this moment. And I can respect that. If they feel well and they feel like they're being careful about other people's health and well-being, that's an important freedom for them. On the other hand, we also certainly understand the perspective of those who are saying, you know, it's not worth the risk. If we can do our part to just shut everything down at our church as well and to not risk spreading this virus in our midst, that the loving thing to do is to do that. That obviously the worst case scenario is we disregard the government's suggestion and this virus spreads in our church and spreads to other people and someone gets sick and dies, and then we have that on our conscience and people are saying, what kind of a church are you that wouldn't care about the public's health? And so I can absolutely understand and appreciate that side of things, that perspective. And so we're trying to take this all in. We're trying to weigh the best options for our church. Again, it's going to be week by week. What I want to tell you in this video is that we have made the decision for this Sunday to go ahead with our 3 regularly scheduled services. One of the reasons for that is that we expect the attendance to be down quite a bit at this point. And so having 3 services is going to naturally provide that healthy amount of space that the public is recommending we have, the social distancing. If there aren't that many people here on Sunday, and if we have 3 services and a lot of room for them, And we're trying to double down, like everyone else, on our efforts to disinfect and to sanitize, especially those surfaces that people touch regularly. And so one of the other factors is we're going to try to do a Facebook live stream for our second service, and you can view that live and stay plugged in that way. Or I think it'll be recorded at that point, and you can go back and view it at any time. And so what we don't want to communicate through this message is that we don't care what the government recommends, or that we're thumbing our noses at authority, or that we want to be these cavalier Wyomingites who just do what we want and don't care about other people's health or safety. Please know that we don't want to communicate that whatsoever. And also, please know that if you're worried, or if you have respiratory vulnerability, or if you're sick at all, or if you have a fever especially, or a cough, then absolutely we are encouraging you to stay home. Absolutely, that would be the right thing to do, the loving thing to do. The difficult decision we're facing, though, is until the government mandates that we not meet publicly, we still feel that there's good reason to allow those people who feel well and who value that for whatever reasons to be able to utilize that freedom that they have. One of the factors actually that kind of plays into that decision too is church history. That if you read church history or world history in the last couple millennium, you're going to find times where these devastating plagues took over the human population, and significantly higher mortality rates than what we're seeing now. And while a lot of the world was running away, what we find is that the Christian church would run in. That there were some plagues that were so deadly that people would actually take their loved ones out into the street who were infected and just leave them there to die. And in a lot of cases, what you find is that the Christian church would actually go out and take these people in at great risk to themselves to do what they felt compelled was the right thing, to care for those folks. And so while we still have the freedom to meet publicly, we want to utilize that for those for whom it's of top importance. Now, we're certainly not trying to say that those of you that want to stay home aren't as spiritual or aren't doing the right thing. We just want to give that freedom while we have it to those who desire that for whatever reason at this point. Also, we just want to be careful too not to set the wrong precedent. Because this probably won't be the last virus that sweeps through the world that causes a panic. And so we want to be careful not to just immediately shut everything down and disassemble when there might still be some valid reasons to remain the church publicly together. Again, that is not a statement against those of you who are deciding to stay home. We absolutely respect that decision. We applaud it because you're doing what you feel in your conscience is the right thing to do out of love for your fellow man and woman. So absolutely obey your conscience in that case. It's just that at this moment, while we have the freedom, week by week, we're going to evaluate whether we have these services. For this Sunday, we will have our regular service times. And we are going to extra efforts to make it a clean, sanitary place. We feel like there's a high probability that church will be one of the lower risk places given the number of people and given the efforts that we're going to. So I hope that makes sense. I hope we can all continue to work together to love one another and respect one another in all the different decisions that are being made. Please continue to pray for us. Certainly value that a lot. Love and appreciate you all, and thanks for watching this, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Goodbye.